Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in with me, William Wallace. I have another episode here of my show, William Wallace for America. As you know, you'll see me at the State House a lot, and part of the reason I'm doing that is because I really believe that by meeting with the state reps, meeting with the state senators, and really getting out the information about their bills is one of the best ways to inform people what's going on in our state. With me right now is State Rep Tim Kerner, District 84. Representative, thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Well, look, I want to give everybody a chance to get to know you and your district. What are the boundaries of your district? What actually marks your district?
Well, it starts off on, I have Ports of Harvey, then it crosses over to the expressway and elevated expressway, and then I go down Barataria Boulevard, and I go along there all the way to, I take up all of Marrera and I'll go to Leo Kerner Parkway, and you take a left and you go down towards Crown Point, Little Lafitte, Barataria, which is a little fishing community. And if you don't take the left and you go down straight down Barataria Boulevard, you hit Lower Marrera.
So now you brought up Lower Lafitte. Didn't you used to be mayor of Lafitte?
Yeah, 29 years I was mayor of Lafitte.
Wow, that's quite a long time.
Yeah.
Now, I like that because it's a small family area. But what did you do before you became mayor? Or was that something you primarily involved in running the?
Well, there was a couple of things I did. When I first started as a commercial fisherman, I commercial fished for 5 years, and then I actually started buying seafood from the commercial fishermen, and then after it was Hurricane Juan, I felt that I wanted to one day get in public service, and I wanted to do it in 19. I went to the sheriff's department, and I actually went through the police academy and became a reserve police officer. And then in 1991, I decided to run for mayor.
Awesome. So it sounds like you had some hard work under your belt, because you know what it's like to be a fisherman. Because isn't that what makes up your district? Is it a big fishing community?
Yes. And mostly Lower Lafitte, Barataria, Crown Point. It's mostly commercial fishermen, and it is a hard life. It is. Those guys are still doing it, and unfortunately, I feel the government hasn't helped as much as they probably should have.
So what's coming up in this session here in this spring session, this legislative session that concerns you the most?
Well, look, I think we getting some of that disaster money, and I say the pandemic money, and I think that's not reoccurring funds, and so I think it's very important that we do infrastructure projects and important projects that's going to help all of Louisiana, but at the same time we don't want to grow government and put us in a situation where we're back here fighting and trying to raise taxes to make ends meet. So I think we just need to be very, very cautious on what we do.
I like that. I like that sentiment of not growing government and using and really focus on using the money efficiently. Way it's good for Louisiana. So is the state doing bad fiscally? I mean, is this something that we're gonna be really watch out for?
No, look, I think we're very fortunate. We were very worried with the pandemic, with everybody out of work and most people staying home, that we was able to come out of this thing. I think as good as that's just me out of 105. I think we came out of it about as good as we can, and I think there's light at the end of the tunnel in the state of Louisiana. We should be able to do good for the people.
I like that. I guess again, it's that sentiment of being positive and work with everybody. Well, speaking of that, I want to talk about everybody gets 5 bills. Not all the legislators are talking about all 5, but they're talking about some or all of them. I want to give you the opportunity to let everybody know what bills you're working on that you want to let them know about.
Well, I think we started off talking about the commercial fishermen. So let me just say this: for years, foreign imports has been killing us every. In the year 2000, we had I think it was like 83% of America they were consuming imported shrimp. Now, the last study, I think 2018, 2019, is 93%. So it gets to a point where people fly in from all over to the state because it's that good seafood. If we don't help the commercial industry, then you can eat foreign imports anywhere in the United States, right? But people come here because they know it's
fresh.
And it's good. So we need to protect those guys. So what I'm trying to do is put a charge on we identified over 75 wholesalers that handles foreign imported shrimp, and we want to put a charge on them for doing so. And then that money we collect, we want to two things really. To have a few people that'll check restaurants to make sure the labeling law we passed 2 years ago is being so they can enforce the labeling law. Where people walk in and the menu says they selling domestic seafood, they selling domestic seafood,
right,
and not lying to anybody. And then the other thing is, the foreign imports that come into this country, the FDA only checks 0.2% for E. coli, salmonella, antibiotics. And
I want them to think about all they check is 0.2%.
0.2%.
That might be a handful of shrimp on a
out of 1.5 billion pounds that comes into this country. So what I'm trying to do is raise this money through this charge so that we could get the Department of Health to go in, and the Department of Health checks milk, it checks eggs, it checks all kinds of things for the state of Louisiana, but nobody's checked the shrimp. So, and it's a shame because if you ever watch these farms in other countries, they feed it with sometimes pig waste, and it's all kinds of terrible things, and they throw a lot of antibiotics in there so they grow fast. So we want to make sure that the people of the state of Louisiana are not eating seafood that could be harmful to them.
Isn't it ironic? The shrimp that they're bringing into our country, they're feeding it with, you said, animal waste on one hand and antibiotics on the other. Right. They're bringing that in and they're only checking 0.02% of it. And your bill is going to check more, charge a little bit more for that foreign shrimp, help out our local shrimpers in such a way, and which will help out our restaurants. When our restaurants know that they're getting good shrimp, they're going to be able to brag a little bit, and that's not only local, but it's safe.
Yeah. Well, the European nations, they check over 50%. And if it's contaminated, they burn it. Over here, we check 0.2%, and if it's contaminated, we give it back to them. So, and then they got over 99% chance if you give it back to them, they could repack it and send it to you, and nobody will ever know about it. So, I'm hoping that this will start a little momentum, and that other states will follow suit, and the federal government will follow suit after that.
This is the type of information that I really like to get out, because not many people realize that it's only 0.2%. I'm repeating it for a reason, is being checked, and it's given back if it's bad. Whereas foreign countries are checking more than 50% of it. So what's your other legislation?
Let me just tell you this.
Oh, okay.
The FDA checks 12%, but only 0.2% for E. coli, salmonella, antibiotics, and stuff.
Okay, I got you. Thanks for clarifying that.
Right. But 12% is way too low anyway. But the things in there that could be harmful for you is only 0.2%.
It's only 0.2%. So what's your other legislation that you want to talk about?
Well, I got another bill that about 12 parishes got together that ensued one oil company, and they settled, and the settlement was $100 million, and so I have legislation there to give them authority to actually start spending the money on coastal restoration projects. And what I did with my legislation, we made it where it's transparent. We made it where 60%, and this is what the parishes wanted. 60% would go to CPRA projects in the state master plan, but we created a board which is called the Coastal Zone Recovery Subcommittee, and they would the parishes would make a list of 3 priorities, and it goes to the subcommittee. The subcommittee looks and sees, makes sure it agrees with the settlement, and then actually it's in the state master plan. So then when they say that, then they'll go to state, they'll go to CPRA. CPRA approves the project. CPRA comes to the state legislature. They appropriate the funds. It goes into the Coastal Zone Recovery Fund, and then CPRA will implement the projects. Now the 40% is a little different. 40% is the Coastal Zone Recovery Authority Board, and the parish again makes a list of 3 priority projects. This board looks at it, and they meet with CPRA, try to get it into the coastal master plan, but it's not, coastal restoration. It could be, but it doesn't have to be coastal restoration levies. But there's a lot of things that happen during these negative impacts that are not that, and then it could be where you have neighborhoods that's flooding over and over again due to all these canals that was built,
Right.
saltwater intrusions coming in faster and faster. So you may want to do non-structural. You may want to lift those houses and fix that neighborhood up, or you may have a road that's been washed out or something. You want to fix the road in your parish. So there's a couple other ways you could spend the money, but it's on a negative impact from.
Basically, restoring property and things for our infrastructure projects for our communities that were damaged by whatever it might have been.
And the thought behind this is that I just was with a group and we were lobbying congressmen and senators from all over the United States to get more money out of Little Mesa. And the deal is, if you have a settlement, whether you're for a lawsuit or you're not, it doesn't matter. If you have a settlement for this money, you should, if you're to go after a country that's doing bad, that's in debt for money to help the coast, then surely if you have a settlement, you should spend it on the coast.
So that's what other legislation that you might want to bring up?
Well, I just minor in my parish. It's not minor to my parish, but statewide. If you ask me statewide projects, I got firefighters that was never allowed into the retirement system, and so I think that's a shame. You work 30 years risking your life to save other people's lives, and when you retire, you don't get another nickel. And fire departments all over the state of Louisiana is those guys are deserving, but they get retirement. I want my guys to get it too.
That's actually
guys and girls.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a very caring. That's actually very caring because, like you said, some of these firefighters and they've risked their lives for us, and I didn't even realize that was a thing. So this is, like I said, these are the kinds of piece of information that I want to get out to our community. About people people don't even realize. They would think just automatically if you're a firefighter and you're working, you're in the retirement system, and this bill that you have actually brings firefighters into the retirement center.
Right.
Retirement center.
Yeah, and I got another one that's look, this one's where you have a K9, and this K9 has worked with you, for all these years, helping you get drugs, and in some cases maybe save your life and everything.
Law enforcement, right?
Right,
yeah.
Law enforcement. So what happens is, if you live if you serve in a municipality, those laws are different, and you can't loan, give, or take anything like that. So what happens is after a lady or a man works with a K9 for so many years, and the K9 reaches his age where he can't provide anymore, then they have to go to a public bid or to try to get the animal. My legislation says, well, look, not only it should justify it even out because the police officer is actually taking the dog. He's taking liability of the dog. He's going to pay for the dog to go to the doctor. He's going to feed the dog.
Right.
That takes it away from the department. So let's just if the council and the mayor agree, let's give them the dog.
So basically, if an officer's been working with this police dog, a K9, for a long period of time, they're attached. They have a bond.
Right.
Your bill basically says instead of that K9 going off to the highest bidder for somebody that may not have had that attachment, your bill lets an officer that's been using that animal for a long time be able to keep that animal as his own pet, where the bond is.
Right, and that dog's did a service for the parish, the municipality for that many years. Nobody will take better care of that dog than that police holder.
It sounds to me like your legislation really focuses, on people in your district and more people, firemen aren't just in your district, but it sounds to me like your concerns are really helping people not only in your district, but how people are in other districts also.
Yeah, well, hey, I don't want to get corny on your show, but that's what I ran for, and that's what I intend to do.
Yeah, it's not being corny. It's I'm glad that you're talking about that because it's a way to point out that you're not just doing this job for a position. You're doing this job because you have a love of community and the people that are in it, and you want to be able to help them. And I take the time to point it out because I like that.
Right.
Well, Representative, is there anything else that you'd like to point out? Anything else you'd like to talk about? Is there anything else that's coming up that you want to get the people involved on?
I'm sure if anything else comes up, I'll get in touch with you. But again, one thing I found here was that there's 105 state representatives, and they are good people. And and we may disagree on some things, but I think in everybody's heart they want to do a good job for the people. I see it every day, so I think we will. I think we're gonna have some accomplishments, and I think we're gonna do a good job for the state of Louisiana.
That's truly the sentiment that I actually get, by people. I mean, I meet some of the people that you hear about in the news that, are getting, criticized for one thing or another. But when you come here and you meet with them and you talk to other people that they're working with, you really find out how much you all are trying to work together despite your differences. So, Representative, thank you so much.
All right.
I really appreciate your time, and I want everybody else, like I said, share the video, let people know about it, and know that I also have a podcast, which you can find at William Wallace, WALLIS for America, where you can hear all my videos on podcast. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. There you go.